All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy June 18th, coming to you alive, coming to you well, feeling fresh, feeling excited, and feeling very, very grateful to be in this moment with you guys as always. And so we're going to talk about a few things this morning. I got an exercise that I want to take everybody through, but we're also going to talk about the market, not just about the nuances, patterns, and conditions about the market, but I want to talk about your compensation, your commission, and what you guys are taking home, because there's been a drastic shift since last year, and we thought it was going to go a completely different way, but I'm going to share some thoughts and some insights and share an article with you guys in just a moment. And so I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field. Now, Kia, you have never done this, so stay with me for a moment. She's like, oh, shit. So, Kia, you're going to bring the group out on the field. This is sharing your tone, sharing your sentiment, bringing us out on the tunnel. And then share one thing that you feel separates you amongst all the other realtors out there. What is the thing that defines you and separates you? So first off, bring us out on the field. Secondly, what is that defining thing that represents you as a realtor? Let's roll, Kia.
The only thing that stands out for me, I'm going to lean into my skills. So my skills essentially is, before I got into real estate, I did home renovations. So for me, that I feel like separates me from the normal folks. No offense, team, right? So
well, they're not the normal. We're like everyone outside of here. They're the uncommon, the abnormal. They're the ones that are different, just like you. But continue cruising.
Got it. So I'm able to I work a lot with buyers. I'm focusing on my buy side business these days, right? I just spend too long of time when I do listings, and I don't want to hang out with people that long. So on the buy side, I'm able to identify things that we need before we even get into disclosures. So like, whether that's like cracks on the walls, I'm already questioning those. Are there leaks? I'm going into like all these little nooks and crannies of the house while my buyers are off looking at other things. And actually, that just happened not too long ago.
Perfect. Yeah, I love this. Tell me one personality trait that separates you from the competition. What's one personality trait? Let's go personal on this. What's one thing about you as a human being that separates you from other realtors in your market? Let's roll.
I don't know. I can't identify that right now.
What?
I can't. I mean, I can always say that I can always say that I'm authentic and I'm myself. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know if that's strong enough.
I'm going to come back to you by the end of this call, and I'm going to go back to you, because at the end of the day, we should be able to speak our truth of what represents us and or how we represent in this world and in this business, and how we show up in your energy, your calling card, whatever that is. So don't go far, because I am going to come back to you to make sure that you answer that. But Kia, I love your spirit. I love your energy. I love how you show up. And that, from my vantage point, is what separates you in this industry. All right. I saw a hand going up. I saw this from Brianna. Brianna, let's go. What do you got for us?
Kia, really? Your authenticity, your personality, how you light up our... Seriously, girl, it better be just because you were on the Zoom, you got nervous.
I am, and I got caught off guard, Brianna.
Listen,
I'm gonna give you to the end of the call, but you need to you bring so much to the table that no one else does. You've lit up a room that I've personally been sitting in multiple times. So yeah, no.
That is your calling card. And listen, sometimes it's really easy for us to talk about other people, but when it comes to edification of self, oftentimes that's one of the hardest things for us to do. You are amazing. You are this person. You are the light. You are the one that brings the fire, brings the heat, brings the energy. It's you. Nikki, mute yourself. So, Kia, don't go too far. We're going to come back to you in a few minutes, but I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your sentiment. Kia, thank you. And Brianna, thank you for that, because that's why we're here. This is Keep It Moving for a reason. So I have a quick exercise for everybody. I need you, if you're not driving, grab a piece of paper and a pen. And if you are driving, come back and do this exercise later. Now, I'm going to keep it very, very simple for everybody, but it's important that we do this exercise, and I want to take a moment to reflect. So what I want you to do on your piece of paper, and if your camera is not on, I want to encourage you to get your camera on, be here, be in this moment. How we show up here is how we show up everywhere. All right, so I'll draw on my whiteboard really quick just for a quick example. What I want everyone to do is just draw a circle. Now, make it an actual circle. I don't know what this shape would actually be called. This is a rock or a boulder of some sort. That is not symmetrically circled, then it's okay. Now, what I want you to do is inside, everyone starts writing on my, I'm closing this. Hold on. I'll be writing on my stuff. And thank you for the heart. Whoever wrote that, thank you for messing up my whiteboard. Let me close that. Okay. Thank you guys for your contributions at a very high level. Here's what I want you to do. In your little bubble, in your circle that you wrote on your piece of paper or on your iPad or wherever you're doing this, what I want you to write is at the very, very top of your bubble, I control. I just want you to put I control, okay? And I want you to leave space to write. Now, down below that little I control is what I want you to do is all the things that you actually can control in life and in business. And just to get the ball rolling, I'll give you guys some thoughts. But as you guys are just starting this exercise, I'm sure things are coming to you, the things that you actually control. But let me give it context. And let me let 2 people in right now. All right, cool. So let me give it context. So I control my action. Okay, let's start out there. I control my action. I control my boundaries, right? You're responsible for that. If people in life and business are taking too much of your time, effort, and energy, listen, you are probably allowing that. Boundaries, I control. I control my self-talk. At the end of the day, when the doors are closed, when I'm alone by myself, when there's no coach in my face telling me all the things that I need to hear, how am I coaching myself? What is the self-talk? So I control my self-talk. I control my discipline. I control my discipline. Nobody needs to remind you to get your ass up and move. Nobody should remind you to prospect every single day to grow your business. I don't need to tell Jeff. I don't need to tell Christina to go and work those leads that they got and close them to get them across the finish line, to get them pre-approved. You are in control of your own discipline. I'm in control of my mindset. I'm in control of my attitude. I could look at this business and be so stoked for another opportunity to make a connection today, or I could be like, same shit, different day. What? It's a new opportunity. It's a new day. It's a new horizon. You control that, your attitude, your energy. I control my energy. This vessel that I have is my responsibility. The energy that I'm giving to the world, the energy that I'm radiating, my vitality, that is my responsibility. I'm responsible for what I eat, what I digest, what I drink, how I exercise. I'm responsible for my energy. And if you're lacking it, it's nobody else's fault but yours. How I respond. Listen, you guys, I'm a kid that came from the streets. There's often times when we're in situations, when I'm in conversations, when things get hard, my mind instantly goes fight or flight. And in a previous life, I lean more towards the fight, right? More towards the fight. Because I didn't know how to regulate. I responded quickly with emotion. But now as I've gotten older and I've gotten more aware and I've gotten more conscious, I have an ability to regulate myself. My family, the Astuto family, is known for having hot tempers. Well, that temper has been something I've been able to regulate over the years. It was, I want to get in fights. That's how I grew up. My reactions to things. How am I truly, truly reacting to these things in my life? So I want you guys to write on your piece of paper all the things that I control. You make your list and it's inside the bubble. Now, outside of the bubble, anywhere around your circle, I want you to put out of my control. Out of my control. And I'll help you out with this list as well. What's out of your control? The market. The market is out of your control. You can't handle that. But what you can say is I can't control interest rates. I can't control consumer behavior, but what I can control is my output. If I know that it's a little bit more challenging to get people across the finish line in this market, then what do I have to do? I have to amplify. I have to amplify because I'm in control of that. So I can't control the market. You know what else you can't control? You can't control other people's behaviors. As much as we want to try, we can't. If someone wants to be a dickhead, if someone wants to be, super stubborn, we can't control that. All we can do is control ourselves. And let's go a little bit further on this. You know what else is out of your control? Your past is out of your control. That's done with. Your trauma, the drama, because please raise your hand if you've been through some shit in your life. Raise your hand high if you've been through some shit in your life. You can't control that. That's already done. What you can control is you can control your current state. You can make a choice to say, I either control how I respond in my current state, or I'm going to allow that to impact me. That's a simple choice. And you, my friends, are in control of that. You know what you can't control? You can't control tomorrow. You can't control tomorrow. You sit there and worry and fester about things that are so out of your control that you can't do shit about, but you stress, you fester, and you let it impact your today because you're so focused on what's going to happen tomorrow. You're so focused on the things that you can't control in the tomorrow that you're not present in the today. These are things that are out of your control. We know without a shadow of a doubt what we can control. And then what we can't control, stop giving it effort, stop giving it energy, stop giving it any of your time because it doesn't deserve it. You have to ask yourself, is this something that I can control? And if the answer is no, then no energy, effort, and emotion should be attached to that. It's not within my control. Be mad at yourself if your business is in the gutter because you didn't choose to take action, the things that you could control. You got two legs, you got a voice, you got a hand to knock on doors, then go out there and knock on doors. You have a phone? Yeah, then create some content. You have a lead pond? Then yeah, get in it. That's what you should be upset with. You should be upset with the things that were completely in your control and you didn't do anything with it. So that's my thoughts and that's my sentiment. That's how I wanted to start out our session today. Before we talk about the market, before we talk about conditions, patterns, nuances, or any of it, I needed to start there with you guys today. So I want to get some thoughts and some feedback and some inspiration, or excuse me, some contribution from you guys before we start out today's session. So Patrick, go ahead. Anybody else, if you have a thought, if you're sideways, Morgan, wherever you are, go ahead and throw your hand up and get in the queue. Let's roll, Patrick. What do you got for us?
Morning. Yeah, no. So for the control aspect, I actually just read this quote that says, people often, especially in our industry, kind of this high activity where we are our owner boss, we have to kind of create our own schedule. A lot of one of our main problems is burning out, right? Being tired, being exhausted. But the fact is, 99% of the time, the reason why we're burnt out is because we focus on the problems of tomorrow and not today. And going back to the control, you can control what's happening with you today, but you can't control what's going to happen to you tomorrow. No one has a crystal ball, and so I like the way you opened that up. It hits home. So yeah.
Well, Patrick, I always appreciate your contribution at a very high level, and let's go there for a second. If you feel that you are burnout and you're stressed out, I believe that that's the end result of you not controlling and owning those things up to that point. Because at the end of the day, if you're burnt out, then you probably didn't own your calendar. If you're burnt out and you're feeling sluggish and you don't have vitality, you got to look back over the past 90 days and ask yourself, how many times did I actually move my body? How many times did I actually work on myself? If I'm feeling burnt out and stressed and I feel like I'm all scattered, when was the last time you read? When was the last time you sat down in stillness, chilled, did nothing, right? Because you're the one that was in control of that. So Patrick, really good example there. I appreciate it. Let's go, Christina. And I'd love to get two more people involved in this conversation because I think that it's really good for the cause. Let's go, Christina. And don't be shy. Throw your hand up if you got something to say. Let's roll.
Yeah, I really like this topic, honestly, because I think in sales, like we can't control, out of my control is to know what am I going to close next month? Like we'll be looking at this month's pipeline, but then what's next month? And I wish I could have a crystal ball and it's like, okay, for the next 12 months, this is how many loans I'm going to close every single month. And then my anxiety would feel so much better. But that's just not the reality in our business and even with you guys and sales in general. So I really remind myself like, okay, be in the moment. This is what my current pipeline is. These are my clients shopping. Keep, working with them and touching base. But that's really, really hard. Like, even though I've been in mortgage for like almost 14 years now, it still is a mind F. Like it just is. So even if you guys are starting in 1 or 3 years or someone like myself that's been in the business for a long time, it's still such a mind F. So that's one thing. And then also out of our control, clients not wanting to move forward. I've sat on Zoom calls. Jess Bling and I had a client that was in contract and all of a sudden, her roommate talked her out of it. And there was, I mean, we went over so many scenarios. We got her a buy down, and there's just some clients that they will get in their own head. And as much energy as we will put into someone, at the end of the day, if they just decide not to buy, you almost have to, like, even myself, like, because we're so passionate, I want to be like, no, like, this is an amazing deal. You are going to like regret canceling in 12 months. You're going to love this when I can refinance you. But I tend to just keep giving so much energy where then it's draining. And then that one client is sucking up so much energy, and you have maybe another 5 to 10 that you can be investing in. So really trying to shift that. I think we're just so passionate in this business, but it's hard to. So I really try to tell myself, like, as much as you will want to control the client's response, it gets to a point that you cannot. And you just have to be like, all right, this is just someone that I'm going to just continually to touch base with, maybe every other month or quarterly, whatever it may be, to be top of mind. But you just kind of get to the point, like, I've done everything I can. But that sucks because I hate that, but it's just what reality is.
Wow, this is really so. Listen, you guys, as we do this exercise, my hope is that I gave you some context, right? The things that I can control and the things that are out of my control. My hope is that as we're speaking, things are coming to mind. And as Christina was talking, I wrote here, things that I can't control. I can't control society, right? Whatever's happening in the news and the media, I can't control any of that. I can't control any cultural beliefs. I can't control people's opinions of me. Right? I can't control any of that. All I can do is focus on my circle and the things that I can truly control. So Christina, I really appreciate your vantage point. Let's go, Israel. I know that you're working, big dog. Let's see what your contribution is. And then if we've got anybody else, if not, we're going to shift gears in the conversation. Let's go, Israel.
Something I can relate to on things you can and can't control is I do some personal training. I'm learning to do it, so I'm getting experience. And the biggest excuse I usually hear is people telling me, oh, but I work all the time. And once I'm off work, I'm too tired to go work out. And I asked them, I'm like, so what do you do instead? They're like, oh, I'll watch TV or I'll kick back and play some games. And I'll be like, bro, you're totally in control of that situation. I'm like, it's really up to you if you want to go hit the gym after work because you got all the time and you're spending it fucking watching Netflix,
Man, I appreciate this. Listen, you can 100% control this because at the end of the day, we're all tired. We don't want to work out, but you have a choice right there to say, am I in control? To say, I'm just going to sweat. I put it in my calendar today to sweat and then, or to sit in the sauna and then to go exercise. So Israel, I really appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything on their list that they can't control or in your control that maybe you want to share that wasn't brought up? Anybody have anything? Let's go, Jamie. What do you got for him?
Well, I wrote down in my circle that I control my circle and my own personal sphere. Who I'm around daily, who I'm listening to, what I'm listening to. So I can control that. What I cannot control is other people, like we said earlier, other thoughts and their perspective of things. Because I took out a buyer the other day and showed her some nice houses and she wanted to live in the hood. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. I had a totally different perception of you. So, hey, so I took her where she wanted to go and that's where she wants to go. So I cannot control other people's perception. So you can't go by what a person looks like. You have to go by what they say and what they want. So I can't control how people lived before.
You know what? Home is where the heart is, right? And you know what? You can put me in my hometown and I feel absolutely comfortable. Absolutely comfortable. So Jamie, I appreciate that. Really good perspective. Let's go, George, and then we'll go Chris, and we're going to shift gears. You guys got some stuff prepared for you. Let's go, George, looking all lean and cut in the face. Let's roll.
Oh, thank you. I did my 6 a.m. HIIT class and I'm going to go back this afternoon. So, yeah, so I really like what Jamie said. I kind of want to add on to that. I think really being able to control who you surround yourself with, because kind of going back to that saying, like, you're the 5 people that you hang around most. And the last couple of days I've been reflecting, and I think I had to be real with myself. I was like, wow, this right now is probably the happiest and most confident I've ever felt in myself. And I look back to a year ago and I see like the people I surrounded myself with, friendships I've now closed the door on, and even my living situation last year. And I'm like, damn, I thought my business did great last year and I thought I was still in a great mental space. But compared to how I feel now, and how much I've grown, I'm like, damn, it's so true who you really surround yourself with, even like people that you've been friends with for years, even family members that you like feel like you just want to hold on to, but you know deep down inside don't really serve any purpose in your life anymore. And my coach, I talked to her like about all of these events that have happened in my life in the last year, and she's like, you can love people still from a distance. You don't really necessarily have to always close the chapter on them. But I think that's one thing we can really control even when we don't want to do it. So I know an exercise she had me do was sit down and even in relationships too. It's like sit down, even if it's like a more intimate relationship, sit down and write the 20 things or qualities that you want in your ideal person and ask yourself, do you possess any of those qualities? That was actually something that was super powerful, and it helped me
Mm,
figure out why past relationships, past friendships did no longer work, or why didn't they kind of go into my life moving forward. And I've realized, it's okay. But that is something that I can control. But that was something in the last year when I look back at it, I was too scared in my own self because I was too worried about what the other people were going to think. But in reality, I think sometimes you have to realize sometimes other people don't really give a rat's ass about how you really feel. So really controlling like your own emotions first and really putting yourself first, because like they say, you came in this world by yourself, you're going to leave it by yourself. So it's kind of in the same thing as business. I get it. People come in wanting to help, like, hey, down payment assistance and whatnot. Like, that's great. But also, if you're in the beginning of your business, you need to help yourself first and get yourself up the ladder, because how can you pull anyone else up in other situations if you can't even pull
mm.
yourself up, and you're always going to continue to struggle? So,
Man, I absolutely love that, George. And yeah, I agree with what Christina said. And I agree with what you said. Like, at the end of the day, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? Like, how can you serve somebody else? How can you help somebody else if you're not putting your own on first? And so, George, really appreciate your contribution. Chris, you had your hand up, big dog. Let's roll over to you. Hopefully the audio is supported. I know you're driving. Let's roll.
Yeah, man, this is a really great topic that resonates with me because in this business, you really need to have great emotional regulation and to be even keeled and not let outside influences or people or stuff out of your control bother you. Because the only thing you really can control is the energy and information you consume and the action you take and also the energy that you put out there. That's basically all you have you can control. Everything else is just, you can't worry about that because if you do, it'll really hinder you. Then you start getting depressed and you start second guessing yourself. So this really resonates with me. And I just focus on the main things that I can control is the feeling my clients get when I give them my authentic self. That way it gives them confidence and peace of mind to move on no matter what the market does. I'm having listings that are sitting right now and doing price reductions, and it hasn't been like this in a minute. So instead of worrying about it and thinking like, oh shit, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, I let them know, here's the market, here's what we can do to make sure that your bottom line and success happens with our transactions. So pretty much can control everything except what you consume. So don't watch crap on social media. Like all the ghetto shit and the ass taking. I took that shit out. I'm like, I don't want to see this shit. It's all about self improvement, business, all the good stuff. Because what you consume is what the energy you can put out there. So just don't worry about stuff that's out of your control, and just make it happen, guys.
You know what? I appreciate you, Chris. I want you guys to do this, and we're going to shift gears. I want you to look at your business and the income that you are currently making. And I want you to ask yourself a very simple question. Am I controlling my controllables? Right? My action, my consistency, my discipline, my mindset, my output. Am I controlling all those things? And if your bank account is not where it needs to be, I promise you there's something that is obviously in your control that you are not handling. I promise you guys. So ask yourself, am I controlling the controllables? Right? I have the ability to go out, knock on doors, create social media content, work the lead pond, follow up with my sphere, work my database. If I'm not controlling my controllables, I promise you it's reflected in your bank account. Your calendar should reflect your ambition. Your calendar should reflect your ambition. You should look at your calendar, and all the things that are on your calendar are in direct correlation to the ambition that you have in this business. You're amplifying that, and you're giving yourself an ability to go out and do what you truly want to do, and it shows on your calendar. That, my friends, is something that you can control. So the moment that you are not controlling your controllables is the moment that you'll feel that in your bank account. Make sense, everybody? All right, cool. Let's shift gears. I got some stuff prepared for you guys. Let's roll. And thank you guys for being open to have this conversation with me. And let's do this. I'm going to pull up a couple things before we go to the hot seat. And I love me some hot seat. Let me go here. Cortez, are you not traveling, bro? You're not going to Atlanta? No, okay. All right. All right, cool. So let's go here, present, boom, bam. All right. So before we get into the hot seat, I want to share something with you guys, and I always want to be transparent. I want to share with you guys, and I also want to share with you what is possible by you guys showing up. Before we get into the hot seat, and the hot seat is how we talk about the market conditions and patterns and so on and so forth. I want to share a really powerful moment with you guys because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still new in this industry. It's been 5 years. Well, yesterday I got a text message from the president of our company, Leo Pareja. And if you've met Leo, he is just a very, very down-to-earth leader. He is constantly looking at the growth of this company from an agent lens and saying, how can we impact the agent's journey? How can we make this better for them? And I have nothing but love, respect for the guy, and admiration for everything that he's doing for our company, EXP. Well, yesterday I get a text message, and I'll just share this with you guys because I want to be real with everybody. Elias, meet Eric. Eric runs the #1 team in Arizona as a total baller like you. He asked me to introduce him to someone with a ton of energy who could zoom in and hype his team up. Eric, meet Elias Astuto, who leads one of our top teams in the U.S. company-wide. Thank you, Leo. Elias, pleasure to meet you. I would love to have you on my next team meeting via Zoom to bring some fire on whatever topic you'd like for 15 minutes. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is it goes back to the Kia moment. When I think about my impact in this business, it's all rooted in energy. It's all been rooted in energy. I don't have all the answers, but I'll tell you what, you guys, I got a God gift of energy that I have to pour into other people to impact their growth. That is my responsibility in this business. I have a responsibility and I have a duty. And I'm responsible for that energy. I could choose to eat like shit. I could choose to stay up late. I could choose to smoke too much, drink. I could choose to do all those things that would impact my energy. And if I did, I would not have opportunities to be in this moment with you guys. I would not have an opportunity to be in a text message with the president of our company recommending me to speak to some other team. Like, for me, you guys, it's absolutely fucking humbling. But it goes back to that energy. And I'm responsible for that. I'm in control of that. So you guys, be conscious of your God gift that you have in this business and make sure that you're doing things that amplify that ambition, putting yourself in the right rooms, raising your hand, showing up, being visible. You guys all have an opportunity to build something that is far past this moment right now. It is far past that. And you guys have been at this for a long time and things are starting to come full circle and it feels really good. You guys have been a part of my life and a part of my journey. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. And it is humble for me to share that. But I wanted to put it in context to share with you that anything is possible. Make sense? Make dollars? Well, I appreciate you guys. All right, let's go here. So I saw an article and I wanted to kind of take you through this journey of agent commission. So when we had the NAR settlement come down last year, when we talked about the NAR settlement, when the industry was talking about the settlement, when Ketchmark, the attorney that brought this whole thing to light, when they were talking about this, they wanted to put an end to what? Can anyone finish that sentence? Through the settlement, Ketchmark wanted to put an end to what? Does anybody know the rest of that sentence? Let's go, Cortez.
Inclusion? I don't know the word, but they just wanted to make it seem like we're not steering with the commissions, but it seems like that's what's happening. Like we have more juice now than we did then. It's like actually better.
Yeah, so Cortez, I really appreciate your vantage point on this. So what Ketchmark wanted to do, which was the attorney that brought this whole thing to light, he represented the plaintiffs. He wanted to say that let's bring an end to 6% commission. right? Let's bring an end to 6% commission. No longer is the industry going to pay a 6% commission. Well, that was the whole idea, and that was the reason why we got here. Now, when we look at where we are with commissions that are paid to realtors in today's market in 2025, let's take a quick look at this. You guys can see in 2024, the average commission that a realtor was paid across the United States of America was right around 5.32%. Now that's total, obviously that's divided sell side and buy side. As of right now, in 2025, as you can see here, the top line of this, you guys, we're at about 5.44% commission, which is up year over year, and it's up since we had the settlement. Now, before I go into my next slides, I want to ask you guys, why do you think that our commissions are going higher? What do you think is driving that? What do you think is the impact, and why those numbers are going up and they're not going down since the settlement? I would love to hear you guys' vantage point on this, and love to hear your thoughts on this. So let's go Chris and let's go Gary. Would love everyone else to get involved in this conversation. So rapid fire, Chris, thoughts.
I feel like in this market where deals aren't falling, from the sky, professionals get paid. The value proposition that you put forward when you're meeting a client during your listing presentation or buyer's presentation, the package you put together from the data to the recommendations on your contractor to inspections to staging, just the way you carry yourself and the value you bring, it resonates in the energy you emit when you're consulting with your clients, and they're willing to pay. I've gotten 3% on the buyer side with agents, with my buyers that they don't have any offers on the table. I talked to the listing agent and I'm going to ask for 3%. It's a solid offer. Here's what we have, and I set their expectations up correctly up front. When you're dealing with sellers, if you lay it down with them and give them an extra roadmap, and those expectations up front, and let them know that here is the current market right now compared to what it was a year or two ago. Here's what I'm seeing with my listings and the results I've gotten recently. They know that you're about your shit, and they're going to pay you. So just, throw your value out there and let them know there's a professional market. And here at Team Fast, we build professionals. So I feel like there's no reason why you can't make what you're worth, and don't shortchange yourself, even though at times you might have to give a deal because these discount agents are competing, but make sure you get it back. I've had times where I've raised my commission later during a transaction because I've done more work than what I've set the expectation for. And I've had sellers gladly say, I'll give you extra 0.5%, I close the escrow. So once you demand it that way, I think that's the reason why it's a professional market, and we're ready for it.
Chris, I really, really appreciate your sentiment on this. Listen, you guys, prior to August 17th of 2024, the buyer was always going to get paid a commission, right? Well, post the settlement, what happened is that now we had to disclose and we had to tell the buyer that in the event that the seller does not pay for my compensation, that money is on you. Well, we can't do that without being solid in our value proposition, without going through a thorough buyer consultation, to let the consumer know exactly how we're going to handle this transaction from start to finish. So what it allowed us to do is it allowed us to articulate in ways that we hadn't articulated before on our value. It allowed us to document and illustrate things that we hadn't shared with the consumer before. Yeah, probably you did buyer consultations, but now a buyer consultation can't be done while you're walking home. It can't be done when you're standing at the car in the driveway on the trunk of the car and, oh, let me talk to you about that. Because now, how are you going to truly prove your worth and ask for a 2.5% commission on the buy side? How are you going to do that? So I believe what happened is that it professionalized our industry. It made us get better in edifying and displaying our value, hence why we are seeing more commissions across the United States of America. Let's go, Gary, let's go, Lisa, and let's go, George. Rapid fire, Gary.
I was just going to add on to what you guys said, the value proposition of the normal consumer buying a house up till the settlement didn't think the buyer's agent did much. They just took them around and showed them houses and then just put the offer in. So they didn't understand, like Chris said, all the stuff that goes in it. It gives us a chance to explain value. And another reason I think it's up is because there's choice now. Because without choice, you're forced, right? So the forced hand is where it was. With choice, yeah, there's gonna be some that get less, but as Chris says, the value agents are gonna get more. Like that's the hype.
You
Like
know,
someone's gotta get less, but hey, we're not those guys.
listen, I really love what you just said, because here's the thing: what happened? So, what the settlement said is that no longer are we going to force the seller to pay buyer commission. So they're paying the buyer to get the best deal and try to haggle. So it's like I'm paying somebody to get me less for the house that I'm representing the seller, right? So they're thinking like, no more is that force. And when you remove that force and you inserted choice, what happened? Commission went up. Like fucking like so to catch Mark, I get why he did. He's a lawyer. It was a money grab for him. I get it, whatever. I have my opinion on that. But at the end of the day, now I'm looking at this and be like, hey, consumers have more choice, but know who has more choice? You guys do. You guys get to negotiate in ways that you would never been able to negotiate. And so I'm happy to be where we are. Let's go, Lisa, rapid fire the conversation. Then we'll go George, and we'll go Cortez. What do we got for him, Lisa?
How's it going? So my two recent listings, one was a FISBO who had an offer. It fell apart. He realized how extremely difficult it was to go the FISBO route. And he had a retired broker on his side to help him with all the paperwork. That wasn't enough. That was not enough. And now they're realizing, like, holy shit, like we actually need someone who is versed where the market is today. Not a retired broker who knows the contract inside and out, but a agent who knows the current market in their area. That's number one. Number two was a listing, another listing I had where that seller had put his home on the market twice within the last year. He overpriced it. He didn't market it well. He didn't have professional photos done. He went with either a very, high-end agent who was selling like only $1 million+ homes and wasn't giving him the attention. And then he went with a discounted person who really didn't know what to do and how to have him understand where values are right now. Whereas when I came in and just gave him the hard truth, and was able to help him understand like where things are at, get it priced right, get it marketed as well as we could. We're now in contract, and
Let's go, Lisa. Let's go.
it's just showing our value, like Chris was saying. That there's so much more that we're doing than just opening doors. So yeah.
100%. So guys, I want to share this article with you. It's from Clever. I want you guys to go down this rabbit hole, read this, check this out. Let me drop it in the chat down below. This is also really good stuff to create videos on. I think it will give you some really good sorry, I'm putting this in the waiting room. Everyone in the boom. Okay, cool. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see that article down below. All right, cool. Appreciate you. So there's some cool things in this article. And one thing that stood out to me here, it says buyer's agent commission dropped from 2.70 in 2021 to 2.30 in 2024, then increased sharply to 2.79 in 2025. And when we think about what happened, the whole idea was, let's reduce the commission that a seller's having to buy, but now you give us the ability to go in and be great negotiators. That number has gone up. I thought this was really powerful. And what it also did is, you guys can see the screenshot that I took here. The national average is 5.44. 2024, it was 5.34. What also is cool in this is that you could see the states broken down where what the average is. And then you could also see the average of commission that we get paid per state. And obviously California is always going to be up at the top because of where our price points are at. So I just thought that this was a really cool article. As we're talking about the market, we're talking about conditions, patterns, and what's driving consumer behavior. I think it's important that you're reading stuff like this. And so let's go over to George. George, rapid fire, then we'll go to Cortez and get anybody else's contribution and feedback on this. Let's roll, George.
Yeah, so I feel like right now, just from my own experience in the field with this, it's definitely been about building even more rapport with the listing agents. I know I've had where like one of my buyers actually wanted me to reduce my commission so he could actually get the deal instead of him coming up in price. And so even building that rapport with the listing agent on the buyer's side, I know there's agents that are like, you know what? No, I'm not letting you do that. I truly respect our industry. I'm not going to let you do that. So I think really building those relationships with the listing agents as well, especially too, I think makes it a lot easier for you to even get advocated to get more than the 2.5% on the buyer's side. Because then if you're building that rapport, everyone wants to work with their friend and help their homie out. So of course that person's going to advocate for you to get that. But then also I know for the listing side, what I've been doing is when I've been going to my listing appointments, and before on my seller's net sheet, I used to put the full 6%, and now I unbundle it. And I pretty much have been putting listing agent and I start at 4%. So I've actually been increasing my commission on the listing side. And whenever they actually ask me, like, oh, is that negotiable? I've actually been starting higher. Like sometimes I'll start at 4.5%, and then they'll be like, oh, can we negotiate? And I'll say, oh, yeah, no, okay, I'll give you my friends and family VIP discount, and that's 3.5%. So usually I'm not letting them take me down on that. And if they want to go below that, I tell them, like, you know what? Like, if you want a real discount like that, you're going to get discount services, and your
Right.
property not going to sell as expensive, or like it's not going to get as much attention or as much like marketing dollars put toward it, because now you're asking me to put a discount. So you're going to get that discounted tier then if you want that below 3.5%. And
Right.
also too, another thing that I've been doing is I've also been like kind of increasing my like price on what I pay for like my marketing. So like usually my marketing guy will charge me like $1,500, or I'll spend about $1,500 on my marketing, but I'll usually try to add more value to that. And I'll tell them like, hey, you know what? Like I usually fork out about 3 grand in marketing dollars and my time in preparing this. So that way they can actually see the value in that. And I actually had one recently ask me that I just signed this week, and he was like, so what do I have to pay you back if I end up deciding to cancel the contract? And I've been telling him like to add more value, like, hey, you know what? Like if you cancel the contract, you're the one that's paying for the staging, not I. The only thing I'm really losing out on is I made a new homie in you, and I lost out on 3 grand in my marketing dollars when
Right.
really I lost out on like 1,000 or 1,500, depending on how much I spent on that one. But then they're seeing that value and they're willing to fork that out for you, because I'm like, you know what, you don't have to pay me back if you cancel, because it's marketing that I'm still going to repurpose for my portfolio when I go on appointments moving forward or online. So just adding that value. And then I feel like also coming from a help mentality, like not telling them like I'm a salesperson. I kind of like, you know what, Elias, I actually didn't even want to get into this industry. I'll be straight up with you. I never wanted to be a salesperson. I actually enjoy building connections. So that's all I'm trying to do, is have an open dialogue and see how I
Love
can
it.
be of service and help you and your family. And I've had positive feedback on the buyer and seller side on that, where their walls come down more.
Love it, George. I appreciate your contribution. Well said. Let's go to Cortez. Last contribution on this subject, and we're going to shift gears. Let's go, Cortez.
I recently went to a seminar, and it's just this whole thing is just a real fluid situation. So in the seminar, they was basically focusing on the listing side, charging 7%. And what their thing was is they're actually offering the buyer agents 4%. And what they're doing is, before it's even on the MLS, they're sending it to all their realtor friends and everybody in the industry saying, hey, look, got this house coming. The sellers are giving up 4%. And what it's doing is, I mean, I'm just saying it's a completely fluid situation right now. You know, like you can charge different things. They was also talking about tiers. So you can just put it out there in front of your clients. Like, this is what you want, this service, you want this service, you want levels of service. So I really like the way the industry is right now. I think it just, you get to articulate, like you said, what you're bringing to the table. I've always signed all my buyers in 3%. Blessing showed me on the deal that we're in now, and one of the contracts, it fell apart, but we can get 2% from the seller, or 2.5%, and then our buyer can still give us that 0.5% at the closing on their side. So it's just a cool situation. So I've got 3% pretty much on all the ones since it's happened.
I'm really glad that we had this conversation, you guys, because this directly impacts our market. This is a direct conversation about the impact in the market and what's happening. And what I loved about this, we go back to this graph here. What I love about this is that it shows us now that you guys are becoming better negotiators. We're going to start doing classes in the office about negotiations, things to do when we look at our offer prep, when we're in communication, when we're strategizing, with our sellers, so on and so forth, because this is an area where we're going to continue to be really sharpening our skills and how we negotiate. Some of you are experts at negotiation, and some of you are just learning the one-on-one on how to really, really be an effective negotiator. And so, you guys remember all this. NAR settlement, $418 million settlement granted for final approval. Realtors agree to act 6% commissions, and all the headlines, right? All the things that we are seeing. And then you saw here in October, he and his trial team, which is Catchmark, went up against the fleet of defense attorneys, won a verdict of nearly $1.8 billion. Class action lawsuit attacked the 6% commission split between the buyer and seller. Name a single industry where you have to pay the other side, Catchmark said. Well, we all know how that's working out. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is to bring it to light. I wanted to share that article for you so you could break down that article, read that article, just be conscious and aware of what's going on around us. But it's really, really important to know that you guys have the ability, based on your value, based on your worth, to be able to go in and negotiate. You guys have that power. We didn't have that power prior to August 17th of last year. So it's really important that you guys are reading, that you're studying, and you're making sure that you understand what's happening. And when you guys are at that table, you guys are bold, you are confident, and you're delivering with the highest level of value. If you're on this call right now and you do not know how to do a fire buyer consultation, you need to go coach yourself, train yourself, break down the buyer consultation, and deliver that at the highest level. I promise you guys, that will be the answer to so many people's problems, because when you are confident that you could do a buyer consultation, when you make your calls, the calls get better because subconsciously you have the confidence to say, if somebody raises their hand and they want to go to that next level, I could take them there. But if I don't have the confidence to take them there, subconsciously, my confidence is telling me I can't really close for this because, oh my God, what if they say yes? So you guys, nail that part of it. Nail how to take somebody through the flow, how to explain agency relationship, how you get paid, your value. And I promise you guys, once you have that, all things will change in this market for you. So you guys, I thought the contributions today were absolutely fire. I want to get a couple feedback, a couple thoughts from you guys. Before we close, I got one thing I want to share with you guys. So we started out obviously with the control and out of my control. And then we obviously talked about, commission and different things. Let's get a couple key contributions and key thoughts and key takeaways. Let's go Brandy, let's go Hugo, and then we'll go to Stephanie. So Brandy, Hugo, Stephanie, and Kia, we haven't forgot about you. Let's go, Brandy.
My biggest takeaway is control yourself, because that is like number one. Controlling yourself as well leads into knowing your worth, and that's a non-negotiable. So it all ties in.
I love it. I appreciate you. Let's go, Hugo. One key thought, one key takeaway from our time together today, big dog. Let's roll.
What's up, Coach? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My main thought and key takeaway is on the first part of what you can control and can't control. Just to not beat myself up over things that I can't control, right? There's a lot of things that I can't control, and just actually be more conscious of what I can control and kind of, refine those things and put more energy into them.
Yeah, God, you know what, you guys, I absolutely love this. I want to share one thing with you really quick, and I always be open and transparent with everybody. Your calendar should reflect your ambition. Okay. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back of the room. Your calendar should reflect your ambition. This is yesterday. This is today. You guys can see everything in red and everything in yellow is mine. The blue is Kenny. Your calendar should reflect your ambition. Those are things that I can control. So I make sure that they're reflected on my calendar. Hugo, really good stuff. Let's go over to Stephanie. Stephanie, key thoughts and takeaways from our time together today.
Definitely control what you can control. Adapt. When the NAR settlement happened, everyone was freaking out, right? Everybody was scared. We didn't know what was going to happen. How is this going to change? Agents were like, oh my gosh, this sucks. It's horrible. And now look, commissions are up, right? So it's like, we never know what the outcome of something is going to be, but I'm definitely somebody who always tries to stay positive. And I've been in this crazy ass industry for 20 years, and there's always some shit happening. Something's always shifting, it's changing, it's always some new shit show we got to deal with, but we always come out ahead. So it's
Right.
like, you just got to keep going, you know, because this industry, it can tear you down if you let it, but it's all about your mindset. Control what you can control. Whatever fucking happens, just keep it moving. Like, you just got to adapt, change. Okay, let's go. I'm doing this now. I'm doing that now. Because now, look, you guys, your commissions are up, right?
Right. Stephanie, I appreciate that. Thank you for your contribution. You just got to keep it moving. Appreciate that. So, Kia, we're going back to you. Kia, what is it about you from a personal level, why clients are choosing you? Let's roll. Speak it from your chest, shoulders back, head up. Let's roll.
I am myself.
And who is that?
That is the best that I could tell you. I can be my authentic self, whoever it is. Like, okay, I've been actually telling my clients this. I did not get into the business to close deals. I got into the business to help people. So I feel like as long as I stick to that, and because that's where my heart is, I'm going to be successful.
Let's go, Kia. Let's go. Way different energy. I appreciate you. You guys, I'm going to close session. Listen, I'm going to be sharing this with you until I choose not to share it with you any longer, because it hits home. And my hope is that it hits home for you guys. This will kind of be like our calling card, our mission statement when it comes to keep it moving, because you guys, I haven't seen something that has hit me so powerfully in quite some time. So I'm going to read this for you guys one more time. And if you're sick of it, it's okay. Log off now. But my hope is that you take a picture of this, you share your narrative on this, because I feel that this is powerful. Your greatest gift is yourself. It is not your brand, ladies and gentlemen. It is not your business. It is not your bank account. It is you. It is the way that you think. It is the way that you show up when no one is watching. That's when discipline shows up. When nobody is watching, when no one is coaching you. How are you going to show up when no one's watching? The habits that you build, the mindset that you strengthen, the healing that you choose to do, even when it hurts, even when it hurts. Everything you want starts with who you're becoming. So invest in yourself, study yourself, challenge yourself, build discipline, build character, build peace. The better you get, the better everything around you becomes. You are the foundation. You are the project. You are the masterpiece in progress. I will say this, and I'll say it one more time from my chest. Stop putting everybody else first. You, ladies and gentlemen, need to put yourself first. This business is not built at the sacrifice of you. That's my thoughts. That's my sentiment. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Thank you for being here. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and make today a day that matters. Peace.